Hey, what's up everyone? Here's Gore's Horror Movie slash Video Game Month number 10, and this time I'm looking at the prequel to Dead Space 2, and this is Dead Space Ignition. Now, let's just get straight into the review with the story of this prequel. Okay, now story in Dead Space Ignition is set obviously right before Dead Space 2, and you follow two characters. I'm really forgetting their names, I'm so sorry, but I'm really forgetting their names. One I think is called Lyle, is the guy, and I think the girl's name is Katie, but I could be wrong. But anyway, you follow, I don't know, Bitch and Guy. There you go. Alright, so you follow Bitch and Guy, and really they're kind of shallow characters, but not that bad. They're not really annoyingly shallow. One's like, oh, you're a pansy, pretty much. The girl's pretty much like, oh, you're a pansy, don't worry, I'll hold your hand the whole freaking time. And the guy's like, man, I'm not a soldier, I'm just a computer geek doing stupid mini games. Because if you don't know, this is more like a choose-your-own-adventure kind of game. It's not a third-person shooter, and you also do a lot of mini-games. So every time he's like the tech kind of geek, he has to do some like hacking, you have to do a mini-game or like two and stuff. And you get to choose-your-own-adventure kind of things too, like you want to go here or here, so that's kind of cool. But really, the story is pretty generic. It's just you playing these two, you don't even play these two characters, you just watch these two characters try to survive, and you do some mini games here and there. And they also try to go and help as much as they can on the ship, the Sprawl, which is the new ship in Dead Space 2. So that's kind of cool to see a preview of the ship, even though it's in terrible animated fucking form. But anyway, I'll get to that later on. So yeah, the story, not so bad, but not so great either. Okay, now sound in Dead Space Ignition is actually okay. Now, there's not really many sound effects besides maybe the mini-games, and they sound okay, but the voice acting is actually pretty decent. Nobody actually made me go, oh my god, that guy's really bad at voice acting. Everybody did good, even though they kind of had a stereotypical kind of thing to them. Like, one would be the asshole sergeant, one would be the badass, nice kind of sergeant. Like, I'm nice at what I do, and I'm badass. And then you have the main guy who is the I'm scared of space, I'm scared of everything, and I'm a computer geek. And you have the girl that's supposed to be like the tough girl, and she's like, yeah, I'll do this, I'm not scared of space, fuck this all. And yeah, it's pretty much stereotypical, but you know, it's still okay voice acting. So let's go on to the graphics. I don't know what else to say about sound. That's all. Voice acting's pretty good. Sounds okay. So let's go on to the graphics. The graphics. Okay, now the graphics in Dead Space Ignition, let me just say it right here, it's terrible. The art style in this, because if you don't know, like I said before, it's pretty much a motion comic, and the art is terrible. Let me just say it right there. The faces look retarded, just the drawings look terrible, just everything looks terrible in this game. The mini-games itself, like, there's mini-games in the game, which is really the only gameplay, but I'll get to that when I get to the gameplay. Really, it looks okay, but that's really the only kind of real graphics you get in this game, besides some crappy little art. And just the graphics are pretty bad. Let me just say it, they're pretty bad, even for a $5 download, and for some people it's free if you pre-ordered Dead Space 2. Even that, it's still not very good. So, yeah, graphics aren't very good. So let's go on to the gameplay. Okay, now the gameplay in Dead Space Ignition, let me just say right here, this is a hard game to talk about, mostly because it's barely a game. All it is a choose-your-own-adventure kind of game, which really you don't have much choice. You have like a couple of decisions here and there. I would say maybe about 5 or 6, maybe 7. I don't know. I wasn't really counting. And you get 3 mini games, and all 3 of those are boring, and they're almost all kind of the same. They're all almost point A to point B, except one, which is, one is like get to point A to point B, and then do it again, point A to point B, and I'll explain it in a minute. You've seen all these kind of mini games before, but maybe not done in a Dead Space game, so there you go. I mean, it's not really a big series yet. There's been 2 games, and now this is the 3rd one, if you want to call it a game, and 4th one's coming up soon. So, if you want, I'll explain these mini games, but really they're simple. One is pretty much a racing kind of mini game. You get from point A to point B, race against the dots pretty much. You're a dot, you have to race from one end to the other and try to beat the other dots pretty much. It's a racing game for that mini game. And there's another one where you have to connect points, which is the point A to point B and then point A to point B. Then you have to get the green laser to go to do a green laser, and you have to get both of them connected, and then get the yellow laser to the yellow laser, and you have to do that by like pointing the other like reflectors and stuff, and it's It's pretty much how it sounds. You get one laser to the other laser, the other laser to the other laser, and you use that by using reflections and stuff. It's like that game Pipe Dreams, if you ever played it, somewhat like that. And the last one is probably the most annoying one, which is an okay idea. It's like a tower defense game reverse. You're actually the attackers for the tower defense, and I guess it's a tower attack then, and you're pretty much sending in units to go attack the other point A to point B. You have to get from point A to point B without getting your units destroyed, and you have to go destroy the other point A, pretty much. And really, all of them are boring after about 2 times playing them, and really this game is just blah. Even for $5, it's really just blah. The story's okay, the voice acting's okay, but everything else, the art is terrible, the gameplay's really boring, and really it's just a disappointing game. I wish it was just something like Dead Rising 2 Case Zero, where it was like the game, like the second game, Dead Space 2 prequel, so you're just like on whatever, I don't know. I wanted a prequel that was like Dead Space, but this wasn't it, and it was pretty bad. So, yeah, there's my review. It was very hard for me to review this. I'm sorry if it wasn't that great of a review, but whatever. Anyway, check the description for the written review, and goodbye.